This episode of the Buffalonian Podcast is brought to you by the CastSource Podcast Network, a podcast network built with and for entrepreneurs. We cover many genres, including sports, business, mental health, marketing, and entertainment. We feature the podcast shows such as Sports Brings People Together, Limitless, Saviors of the Metaverse, and The Athletic Mindset. Learn more at castsource.com/podcasts. Now, without further ado, let's get into the Buffalonian Podcast. The Buffalo Bills make some moves and take the dub over the Green Bay Packers. And Tage Thompson is absolutely on fire for the Buffalo Sabres. We'll be talking Would You Rather, hot takes, trivia, and more. This is the Buffalonian Podcast. All right, let's go. We are back with the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Cali, and as always, I'm joined by Dom Loss and Mike Marino. And fellas, what a game this past weekend. The Bills take the win over the Green Bay Packers. A little bit of a messy second half, but, first half was pretty solid. What are your thoughts? Let's recap.
I think it was one of the most boring games I've ever watched, to be honest with you.
Especially for a prime time game.
I guess I'm biased in the fact of I was working for most of the first half, so I didn't get to see any of the first half. So I didn't see any of the 3 touchdowns live. So, I just saw the crappy second half, so I'm a little biased.
Yeah, it was a little tough. And for anyone watching, Mike is currently in his college library right now, so he's going to be a little quieter on this episode. He's got to respect the study grind. So, Mike, anything to add if you want?
Shout out your college, man.
Yeah, no, I think just watching the second half, it was kind of like Alan was just trying to be like, I'm taking this game. I want to just make a statement here, and it just didn't work.
A little backfired.
It's okay.
It happens.
He kept trying to force deep throws, but they had the game in hand in the first half. So, I get where he was coming from, but at the same time, let's calm down, take a second, and recuperate here.
Like 21 million people watched, I think on average, watched the game, which was the highest since 2015 on Sunday Night Football. So even probably the two, I would say the smaller market teams in the entire league, and Green Bay's not a small market, so Buffalo.
Smaller than Buffalo.
And it wasn't like it was a great game either, to be honest.
No.
Again, I'm a little biased, but so it just tells you that the NFL is king, man.
Yeah, I can't argue with 21 million people watching our hometown Buffalo Bills stomp the Green Bay Packers in spectacular fashion, but looking at this, it was the night before Halloween. Who stepped up for you in that game? Like, who was your takeaway after that? Like, who stepped up?
Matt Milano.
I'd say Matt Milano is always a good pick, though. I would say Ed Oliver really played probably his best game of the year.
Yeah,
obviously coming off the bye with the ankle injury, he was getting a lot of interior pressure throughout the game. I know he had one play where I believe Groot had a sack, but it was based off Rodgers having to step up through him on that 4th and 3 on the first Packers drive. It looked like, I think the NBC crew said that the wide receiver was kind of open on the corner route, but Aaron Rodgers just couldn't get there because, the guard was right in his face because Ed Oliver bull rushed the crap out of him.
Yeah, no, Ed Oliver, that's who I was going to say, had an amazing game. He really just took it, and that defensive line was better with him fully healthy on it, and he was kicking butt. So that anyone on the offense to you? That was a defensive guy. Anyone offensively?
I would say it was a nice bounce back game for McKenzie because that was a pretty nice touchdown, I'm not gonna lie. So
yeah. No, it's definitely Isaiah McKenzie. After the horrific drops he had last week, it was nice to see him step up and do a decent job for a game. Hopefully he stays consistent with that, but you never know with that.
I'd say Singletary did a nice little first half there.
Mm-hmm.
And he just didn't do much second half.
Motorin was
shout
motoring.
out to James Cook. He had some nice carries.
He did. He kind of. So I think James Cook solidified. His production this year has been pretty good from first touch of the year as a fumble to now. I think we've come a long way.
I would hope that something has happened in a positive sense towards that case. But no, I think the whole ground game was pretty good. Obviously, it was very good in the first half. Second half, I mean, they were able to move the ball, but it seemed like there was a lot more negative plays in the ground game than there were in the first half. I don't know. I mean, if that was just blocking being poor or because Green Bay had the ball for so long that the offensive line kind of got out of rhythm with their blocks. I think that might be the case, or they little bit outside runs that were a little slow developing, and your blocks have to be good on those. And it seemed a lot of times that Singletary was getting hit 4 yards deep in the backfield when that was happening in the second half. So a positive and a negative to the ground game. It was kind of what it's always been, a little inconsistent, but I would say it was more good than bad. But against Green Bay, they kind of have to have a good ground game because they're terrible.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers had a couple good throws. Aaron Jones was solid throughout the game. So, I mean, they did not play awful, you know what I mean, in that kind of a sense. But
I think you got to respect the Packers that they kind of showed what kind of team they were down 17 at halftime to at least battle.
Yeah, they didn't miss a beat. Like, they kept going. But at the end of the day, did not matter.
I still think, they're not even close to us, but at the end of the day, Collinsworth made the point in the broadcast that they were moving the ball, and it was the right strategy. And I could agree with him at some sense that they were running the ball well, but at the same time, it
wasn't like Jonathan Taylor was running on us in the Colts game last year.
But at the same time, they made a field goal. Their drives in the second half, they kicked the field goal. They had that interception. They had just the only reason they scored a touchdown was because of a great play by the ad-lib by the wide receiver for a 40-yard touchdown. It's not like they pounded the ball in the end zone. They eventually got stopped. And they gave up yards. Sure, the defense gave up yards, but they always kind of do that. So,
Yeah.
No, I mean, you got to give credit to Aaron Jones because he's obviously their best offensive player right now. They don't have Devontae anymore. So, I would say he had some good runs, but there are times where he stopped. And then they tried to get A.J. Dillon involved. And
he got injured, didn't he?
He came back.
Oh, the one play he was dragging Tremaine. Tremaine could not bring him down. Just saying.
Tremaine has been having great games recently. I will say this. The play that Tremaine made at the end of the first half, this is the second half, I don't know why I was going to say that, where he carried the tight end up the field, and then Rodgers tried to throw it over him, and it hit his helmet, and Matt almost picked it. Yeah.
Those are the type of plays that no one sees on TV of Tremaine taking away the middle of the field in coverage. I feel like if people had the all 22 or a wider range, they'd respect Tremaine a little bit more. But most of the time, people just see him, get a little lost in the run game sometimes, and it's been really good this year though. I mean, he's making splash plays.
Well, he and Matt Milano are the standouts on the defense, in my opinion, for the season. The linebacker position as a whole, I mean, from last year to this year is so different. It's awesome. I mean, they're really kicking butt. I mean,
yeah, I think that if we talk about who was kind of below average, I thought the D line kind of got pushed on a little bit in the run game. I know they were trying to invite them to run, playing nickel, and all that, but the D line, I think the main problems for the run defense wasn't the linebackers are playing bad and they were overrunning or missing a bunch of tackles. Tackling was a little bit of an issue, but I would say mostly the D linemen kind of got out of their gaps a little bit, but that's something to work on.
Right. I mean, there's always room for improvement, especially with that game. They were getting a little chippy with each other, if you ask me. There were some words said. Diggs followed, what's his last name? Alexander. Yeah, I followed him out of the tunnel, getting chippy with him. Gabe Davis was a little chippy,
And then Diggs and Rasul Douglas, after Diggs got the touchdown, he tackled him after the play.
Yeah. So
Davis and was it McKenzie?
Yeah, it was McKenzie.
They were holding him back.
It's just I don't know what happened. It's you know what I mean. They haven't done that as a team in since I can remember. They weren't
Alexander and Diggs used to go way back in the division. So
right, but I mean the whole Packers team was chippy with us. You know what I mean? It wasn't just Alexander and Diggs. I would have been fine with
I think that was our offense versus their defense, because according to Von Miller, most of the time he was just chanting about what the offensive line of Green Bay is going to do with their Halloween for their kids and stuff. So I think I mean, we talk about the ground game for one more second. Von did say they were surprised how much they were running the ball. He even asked Aaron Rodgers during the game why weren't they throwing it more. So I think,
do we know Rodgers' answer to that? Was it that he has no wide receivers? I mean,
no. Von refused to comment on what his answer was to that question. But
Sammy Watkins is a wide receiver for them. Sammy dropped touchdown. He did it. He did. Back in Buffalo, got a touchdown. I mean,
Who did?
Sammy.
Sammy didn't score a touchdown. That was Romeo Dobbs.
I thought Sammy had a touchdown. No.
No, that was Romeo Dobbs.
I was just running with what Mike said. I'm going to be honest with you. I
Oh,
watched the
well.
entire game.
Well,
so-
I didn't even watch the first half. I knew that one.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I was hoping Sammy did, honestly. But didn't
No,
he
it's-
leave on bad terms, if I remember correctly? It wasn't anything
got-
anything as bad as Stephon Gilmore, but it wasn't anything spectacular, was it?
He got traded once the new regime got here. At the summer of the new regime, he got traded
The new regime.
for EJ Gaines and a second round pick, I think.
That worked out great for EJ Gaines. Huh? He's still hanging around.
I'm trying to remember what the second round pick became.
G Gaines is not on the team anymore.
I know, I'm kidding.
You know what that
was
second round pick?
sarcasm.
You know what that second round pick became? I'm pretty sure
Hmm.
because it was the 2018 draft. I think that was one of the picks used to trade up to number 7 to get Josh Allen.
Nice.
Oh, look at that.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. There's your the fun factoid of the day.
Fun
Thanks,
fact.
Sammy. We
Oh,
traded
my
extra. We traded a first round pick for you. Well, technically 2 first round picks to trade up, but you guys
Now-
help us get Josh.
Now, I want to delve into this now. We've recapped the Packers game. The Bills have made some moves today before 4:00 p.m., maybe a little after 4:00 p.m. It sounded like 4:30 on some before the trade deadline ended. And the Colts, let's just say Colts fans, Dom, you mentioned me before we started recording. Colts fans are not happy. They're
Yeah,
not happy at all.
It's always the first thing I always do is usually when a trade happens, I'll see what the Bills fans think, and then usually when the trade gets officially announced, I'll look at the team's official trade, the Colts account, and they're not happy. Some people were defending Zach Moss, which I thought was pretty laughable. So a quarter into that experiment, they're gonna realize that a grave mistake was made to think he has any value,
Yeah.
any positive value, I should say.
Defending Zach Moss, what are you defending? That he gets stuffed after 1 yard gains or goes negative and then rides the bench for the whole season? I mean, I don't know what you have to defend.
I mean,
He
he's a 3rd round pick, I guess. He has some kind of value,
hasn't
respect.
shown any value, so I think he's got more trade value than anything. Well, actually, no, he doesn't. He's got no value.
Well, yeah, because
He did for us. He got us Naheem Hines.
I know. I think it's I would say if I was grading it, I would say it's like a B plus. It's not like I don't love it, but I
don't
like
hate it.
It
Well,
helps in
hate's
the
a strong
receiving
word.
game. It helps in the receiving game because I mean I don't know if they've been sold on James Cook's ability as a receiver yet. So I
Yeah.
think maybe they're just bringing him in as like insurance, maybe to help mentor him, and then I don't know if he'll be back next year if they just cut him or whatever. I think he's got 2 years left too. So
Yeah, I think he has 5.4 million this year, 4.7 the next, or it's the opposite. I think it might
I
be.
think it's the
close to them.
opposite.
Okay, well, I was I was close, but I think I like it from the fact of I think it helps the Bills in the short term.
Yeah.
Because of the James Cook situation, we don't really know. I mean, he was playing pretty well, so I think maybe it's more of just to get in. Maybe Cook and Hines are out there for to get linebackers on them. So obviously receiving out of the backfield will help. Also, I think it's a little underrated about special teams too. He can return kicks. He's pretty solid at that. So
Yeah.
you don't.
Yeah, he's
need
a pretty good returner. Looking at his track record, I mean, I think it's definitely a good move because
you don't need Shakir or I
Yeah.
think McKenzie's a kickoff returner still. So I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's an upgrade on special. Obviously, this Bills regime cares a lot about special teams as well. So
yeah.
and
Well-
also if every move that the Bills make, it always seems that they are sure that it helps them in the short and long term. Singletary's a free agent. At least they now have another back signed up for next year, so at least have Cook and Hines. I mean, obviously Mike alluded to it; they could cut him, but
Mhm.
I mean, it could go anyway, but I think that was definitely a good move. And I mean, what do you think about Dean Marlowe?
I think that's just like a depth thing because I think didn't Poyer get banged up and he had to
Yeah.
leave the game.
He's
And
got
then
an elbow injury that they haven't exposed any MRI on yet.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just like an insurance thing. He's been here with McDermott and Frazier, so he knows the team, he knows the schemes. Like he's just here as like probably if Poyer's hurt, he can step in and play a few games.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know
He's
the
not taking
extent of
anybody's
Poyer's
job.
injury. No, absolutely not. It kind of confirms Poyer's injury a little bit. I feel like though.
He was in what, Detroit? Was he in Detroit?
He
Yeah,
was in
Dolphins.
Detroit. Then he was well. So I mean, if you look at it from the Bills' perspective, they've upgraded. I don't know if you want to say RB2 because I'll say it. They've upgraded RB2, and they've upgraded their depth and safety by getting rid of a guy in the 53-man roster that they were not using, and a conditional 6th-round pick and a 7th-round pick. So, I can live with that. I mean, it's a little bit like it's just kind of funny that Bean does such a good job hitting on those day 3 picks. It's kind of a little tougher to see him part of them, but I think they got great value out of both of them. I do agree from a perspective of it might show that Poyer's out for a little bit, but I don't think Poyer's injury is long term.
No, it's probably a week or 2 at most. I would say 2
I
games.
think he missed what? I mean, he kind of had. I don't know if he had a similar injury because we don't really know. But in the training camp, he missed like 2 to 3 weeks from that elbow injury. So I mean, maybe they think that's the same kind of timetable.
Yeah.
And obviously Hamlin a little bit more of a, I would say, a downhill safety, maybe not as much as a cover safety. I think Marlowe's. I mean, I'd have to. I'm not as adverse of his game, but I think he was more of a cover safety when he was with the Bills. And also, I mean, another kind of special teams that as well. He's a very good special teamer. So
yeah, well,
two versatile players that help you in the short term. Obviously, Hines a little bit more of a also long term help as well. But all in all, I think it was a good deadline to kind of shore up some loose ends.
Yeah.
What would you grade it if you had to grade this one? I know you said B+ for the other one, but
that's a great question.
I'm gonna say B.
Probably B. I mean,
a solid B.
I think both deals.
B for Bean.
Big baller Bean. I think both deals are. I like it. I don't think the Hines one I don't love because I just what's going on with James Cook.
Mm-hmm.
That question mark I have, and the Marlowe one is just it's a 7th-round pick. It doesn't really matter, but you'd still like to have draft capital. But they had. I mean, listen, they're trying to win Super Bowl right now. They had a need for a comfortable third safety that's been in the system.
At least we're not the Rams. Just trade everything, all of our picks.
Yeah, they wanted to trade 2 more first-round picks for Brian Burns, apparently.
Oh my God!
I don't believe that. I think that's.
I don't know where they're getting them from.
I was watching One Bills Live.
Yeah, those 2035, 2036 first-round picks.
Yeah, I was watching One Bills Live, and they did the little air horn every time there was a trade today. Just bam, 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 nonstop for the Rams. I mean,
no, I think both moves were very. I think this has been a positive week for the Bills. Positive the last couple of days. They get a dub. They go to 6-1.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
And the Jets are even further away now from.
I don't care about the Jets. I care more about the Dolphins. We'll talk about them in a second. But
yeah.
I mean, listen, the Bills go to 6-1. They make 2 solid moves to help the depth of the roster without giving up a lot. And they have a lot of stuff that they could work on. It's not like they blew the doors off. I think we're spoiled as fans that we just expected them to blow the doors off of the Packers. But
yeah,
again,
it's like the Patriots in those dynasty years with Brady. I mean, you got upset when they only won by 10 points instead of 17. You know what I mean? Like that kind of a deal. I feel like we're in right now.
Yeah, and Josh played his worst quarter of the year, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. I mean,
2 picks. I was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, and
he was trying to make it a statement game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, 2 pretty boneheaded mistakes. I mean, 3rd and 10. I thought he could have ran for the first down. Obviously, we didn't have that real camera angle when they ever showed it, but that was a bad pick. Obviously, third and goal pick. That was also, I gotta say, the frustration I do have with Dorsey is for every reason they just decided to not run the ball when they get to like 2nd and goal at the 3. They did this against the Dolphins too.
Yeah.
If you're getting like 4 yards a pop, like at least give it another go. If you get stuffed again, then throw it. But they do all this RPO stuff, and then I don't know. They just get a little. Sometimes they get I'm not like one of those boomer fans that say they have to run the ball more, but in that area, I would like to see them maybe run the ball a little bit more in the red zone. But and then obviously
the boomer fans that when football was a running game sport,
yeah, miss O.J. Simpson when there was 8 pass attempts a game.
Yeah,
Thurman, yeah, but then also he missed that throw to Kumar at the end of the game. I know those penalties, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Right,
but he still missed them. He was wide open, so it was one of those games where Josh, I think the stat was he was 6 for 9 for like $140 and 2 touchdowns under pressure. So he had like pretty much like a perfect rating. And then, I mean, you could do the math outside of pressure. It wasn't very good. So I think that was just because when he's clean, sometimes I think he tries to force things. And it happened Sunday.
Yeah,
but
he got bloodthirsty. He wanted to rub it in the face, I think. And I feel like anyone would be like that,
Prime
especially
time.
against prime time. The whole 21 million people are watching. It's against one of his possible, he watched this
His
he
peers,
watched
his friend.
peers. He watched Aaron Rodgers play when he grew up too. Like, I mean, this guy's an NFL legend, and to put that many points up, like try and force that, I'd be doing the same thing. But understandably so. And
I just like how
it.
I like how he defined it as a gross win. But
it's absolutely correct though.
But I also like how McDermott, even in the locker room, was like, we didn't play at times to our standard, but we should still celebrate this win because it's hard to win the NFL.
I did like that. And I think, honestly, here's how I would look at it. The Bills had a very off day, right? Second half. It was not the Buffalo Bills that we have seen the past couple of weeks, like it wasn't that juggernaut, all 4 quarters, all fantastic football, offense and defense, right? We still did well. Like even on our off day, we could still beat most teams in the NFL, I would say.
No, I agree with that.
Like that's pretty cool to be a part of that right now.
Well, yeah, but I think the one thing to maybe push back a little bit on that point is they're not going to be good teams doing that.
No, but like if you play the Chiefs, most teams in the NFL, I'm talking like NFC teams, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, if they played the Eagles, if they played the Chiefs, if they played the Dolphins.
We'll talk more about the Eagles on the betting on the Bills this week. I have a couple things to say.
The Eagles are a top 3 team in the NFL. If the Bills played like that against the Eagles, they would have lost by double digits.
Right. If the Bills played like the Pittsburgh Steelers did against the Eagles or the Detroit Lions or the Commanders. The Eagles haven't played anyone. Play against the Bills and Chiefs.
Played like they did on Sunday, they would have lost by double digits to the Eagles. Chiefs. They would have lost the Dolphins. I mean,
I don't think the Eagles could beat the Dolphins. I'm going to be honest with you.
All right, we'll just talk about this later.
We'll save that for another.
This is silly to me. I'm not saying the Eagles. I'm saying the Dolphins can't beat the Eagles, but to be that confident is a little scary for you, Joe.
No. Anyway, I mean, let's just move on. Trey White is active to the 53-man roster officially. He will or will not play this week. Do you think he plays, or do you think he rides most bench? Or
he'll probably be scratched.
Healthy scratch, you think?
Probably
one more week against the Jets, and then we'll see, or how much longer?
I don't like the MetLife turf. We saw last year all the 49ers guys go down.
Yeah,
I'm not risking.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
the new. Actually, I'm not going to say anything yet because we're moving to the new stadium. The renderings after this, I was going to say new stadium is going to be grass, but
yeah, I mean it's nothing. There's no reason why you can't wait another week, especially if you're going to play on a turf. The only thing I would say would be, it would be kind of hard for him to play against Minnesota, just because I mean I think Thielen might be a little bit banged up, but it's a tough task for any cornerback, especially a guy coming off his first game off ACL to guard Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. But
yeah,
I mean, listen, I just don't see the necessary need to
force him in to the Jets game all of a sudden,
especially from a dude coming off a knee injury too. Like it just kind of.
I think you said it last episode. You said this is like his preseason, his training camp right now. So just got to let him progress through it and figure it out.
Yeah, when I said that last week though, I thought he was going to play either this Sunday or in the New York, and then I actually forgot that this game coming up is in New York. And
you mean New Jersey?
Whatever. I retract that statement because I don't want him to play on turf.
All right, statement retracted. I agree. I think they should wait him out a little bit, just make sure he's fully healthy. But
no reason to rush.
No,
it's not. I mean, you're a game and a half up on everyone in the AFC. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I do want to add before we talk about the stadium rendering.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, buddy.
I just want to say the Dolphins are going for it, man.
Yeah,
they want it.
They got that. Who do they got a defensive lineman? Who did they get?
They got Bradley from Denver. Jeff Wilson from San Francisco, so a little bit for the run game.
What did they trade for Wilson? I didn't see that. I gotta look that up.
I don't know. I didn't look.
I know they traded a 4th, a 1st, and Chase Edmonds, who was one of the worst running backs in the NFL this year. So that kind of, for a guy that has Raheem Mostert in fantasy football, I was pretty amped for about 5 minutes, and then they made the Jeff Wilson Jr. trade, and I'm like, well.
You think Jeff Wilson will get more touches than Mostert?
No, but I think they're going to be a split committee, and I thought he was going to be the lead back, so it kind of blows.
Got a point. I got both of them on a fantasy team, luckily enough. So I mean, now they'll join. Well, I mean,
what are you going to do? You're going to have to trade one of them, probably.
I don't know. Do I keep Mostert or do I keep Wilson? I have no idea. Well, I mean, we'll have to figure that one out.
That Niner Dolphin connection, Shanahan McDaniel.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, maybe I keep both of them. Maybe I run a double set. And see what happens. If they get split. If they get split carries, come on.
I'm playing you this week in fantasy football. I wish you would do that against me, but
okay. Well, now I know I'm playing you, so I'll stack up.
No, but I think it comes down to the fact that the Dolphins don't want to be as blitz happy as they've been. They want to kind of win with 4 now, and Chubb definitely helps them with that. Obviously, Wilson's an improvement over Edmonds, so they have a solid backfield. And
Right.
listen, they're a team. I think the Dolphins are a team that I'm not saying as Bills fans we should fear them, but we should definitely respect them. I think they're definitely a team that could beat Buffalo in the playoffs if they played each other, especially.
Yeah, I think the fan bases need to calm down a little bit here. I mean, it's just I go into these Twitter groups and Facebook groups, and it's just nonstop trash talk between these two team fan bases. I'm like, let's just let bygones be bygones here. It's not Marino and Kelly anymore. It's Tua turn the ball over and Josh Allen. Like, let's calm down.
Dude, that's your problem right there.
Dan Marino's long lost nephew is a part of our podcast.
Okay,
that's your problem right there, Joe. Yeah,
what?
You're part of it.
Turn the ball over?
Trying to act like you're part of the solution when you're part of the problem. Please.
Okay,
you
listen,
know what you did.
Respect to the Dolphins. Tua's a great quarterback. There we go.
I say he's playing as like a top 10 quarterback. Right
exactly.
Now, which is kind of remarkable.
10 of
I think
10.
Some of it's kind of some of it's kind of system based, but listen, he's making good throws.
He is. Tyreek Hill's helped out. I will say that.
Tyreek Hill's on pace to like break like the receiving record this year. So
yeah.
It's unfortunate for Diggs. Diggs is having a great year, but I think
the Cheetah's going faster than he is. So I mean, I don't know. But we play them week 15 in Buffalo, and in 2026 they're going to play in our brand new stadium. And I do have some photos of it. I'm going to pull up real fast.
As you pull them up, I'm just going to say that week 15 game could potentially be moved to Saturday.
Well, could it?
I don't think I got to look at the slate when we get closer. About for the Bengals and Bills, I'll look at it, but I think the slate of games shows that. I mean, how did that game not get optioned out?
Yeah, you got a point. It's a pretty good game, but I mean,
pretty good gig.
Let's just look at this right now, okay? It's been out for a while now. We've basked in it, right? Haven't had a chance to look at it on the pod yet. So bathe your eyes in this right now. And what is your initial impression? I've seen a lot of tweets saying, hey, babe, let's go kiss under the Buffaloes. You know what I mean? Like people making fun of that out there, But what is your – I mean, the renderings are subject to change, quote unquote. Do you think they'll change very much, or you think this is what they're going to stick with? And what are your thoughts?
I think this is pretty much it. I mean, like we knew we weren't getting that like $4 billion SoFi, and I don't think that's what we really want. No. So like I'm pretty happy with the way it looks.
Yeah, I think if you look at Tottenham, I think that's how you pronounce it. Or
Tottenham.
I don't think that's how you. I think that's a little too British for me. But the same guys that built that stadium, and it's very similar. And I think I can't remember who got an interview with Channel 7. I don't know if it was like an architect expert or the guy close by to the situation, but as Mike alluded to, they were never going to get a stadium like SoFi. They were going to get a stadium built for Buffalo, not Los Angeles. So I think it looks pretty good, and I think fans who were so pro dome can be at least pleased that it's about 2/3 coverage. So
yeah, there's a lot more uncovered than I actually thought there was going to be. I didn't realize. I knew there was
third.
I knew there was going to be that overhang, but I thought it was going to go out a little further. I didn't know. You know what I mean?
You thought what percent of the coverage did you think it was going to be?
At least 33. Well, 33 is a third, so I guess you know what I mean. I don't know. I guess actually seeing it, it's different than I thought it would look. You know what I mean? Like I had a thought in my head, but I mean I'm not complaining. It looks.
It's 65% covered, so I think it looks good to me, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As long as the bathrooms work in there,
yes. And are they gonna have the whatever they call the stall?
Troughs?
What kind of urinal? The what? The trough? A trough. Yeah.
It's like a tub.
A nice tub of pee. Like that's what they're dealing with right now. It's so bad. But I mean, I do wanna do one thing before.
I didn't know what that was called. Thanks, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I actually didn't. I knew it started with a T. I didn't actually know what it was, but I might install one of those in the house. A nice trough, expedite the process a little bit,
Cheapers.
But
basically peeing into a bathtub.
Exactly. But before we move on to Sabres talk, I do want to show this, in spirit of it being the day after Halloween, Christmas music's on the radio. I want to show Kyle Brandt's little trick or treat moment here. It's absolutely spectacular, and big fans of Kyle Brandt on this pod. So in the basement. So let's see. Let's pull it up.
NFL today, trick or treating with an NFL twist.
Oh, great. Another wacky NFL pregame show Halloween skit. I can't wait. Wonder what they'll do this year. Let me guess. There's a cute little trick-or-treater dressed like an NFL player right behind this door. What do you know? It's Patrick Mahomes.
Trick or treat.
Enough with the no look. Look at me. Eyes right here. Never mind tricks. Never mind treats. I'm going to give you some truth. Let me see that bucket. Just what I thought. A lot of paydays, and now you've added some Butterfingers. I'm going to give you some gum so that we can stick it on the ball one of these weeks. Here you go. Intercepted. Don't you hate that? Now get out of here.
Trick or treat.
Well, reunited. Hey, Coach, I got to tell you, there's a rumor going around the neighborhood here that all those ring pops in your bucket, that guy put them there. And as for you, Tales from the Crypto, you are taking this candy and you are eating this candy. I don't want to hear about it. Consider it a performance-decreasing drug and give somebody else a chance for once. Go try the Mars bar. I believe it's named after your home planet. Get out of here.
Trick or treat.
Hey, little buddy. Look at you. You got big. Do you want to know what I've got for your bucket?
What?
A bucket list. And it's only got one thing on it. Win a game that anyone's ever going to remember. Got it?
Yeah.
Get out of here. Trick or treat. You got to be kidding me. Big man, you are way too old to be trick or treating. Look at you. You don't need M&Ms, you need an IPA. What are you, 30?
I'm 11.
11? If I wanted to joke, I would just have you tell me that the Titans are going to win the AFC. I want you to get out of here and try not to break my gate when you smash through it, okay? 11. I got to say, that was pretty good. And by the way, if those kids really want candy, they got to go way uptown to Esiason Manor, cross the drawbridge, go under the portcullis, and the team of butlers will give them anything they want. Right, Boom?
Always very exciting to watch something Kyle Brandt
Wasn't
does.
that commercial from last year?
Was it from last year?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? They showed it. I saw it on Twitter today, so I figured we'd show
Whatever.
it.
Happy late Halloween to everyone.
Happy belated Halloween. Happy Christmas music on the radio.
Oh God, please.
It's already starting, especially here.
I
in Buffalo.
was jamming out to Last Christmas though on the car ride home, so I can't.
Of course you were. You're
Okay.
yeah.
I can't
Let's
complain
just
too
move-
much.
Let's just move on. I don't want to hear this.
Let's just move on now. I don't know about you, but I'm a big sports fan, and so are my fellow co-hosts here. And I'd highly recommend you to the Sports Bring People Together podcast presented by the Cast Podcast Network. Listen for entrepreneurial conversations with those in sports. Who knows where the chats will take you, but sports got us all together in the first place, so just enjoy the ride. Find this show wherever you listen to your podcast, or simply visit castsource.com/podcast or sportsyplus.com. Now, gentlemen, let's get right into the Sabres. Dom, you and I were there last night. What a game.
Eight goals. I think that was the most goals I've ever seen in person.
Yeah.
Or-
8
well,
goals.
by the Sabres, I should say. I definitely have seen
Three in the last
team.
5 minutes, or last 3 minutes. 5, yeah, right?
3 in the
6
last
points for
5.
Tage.
4 in the last 5. It was 4-3.
4 in the last 5. Look at that.
300
mean-
for Jeff.
Dude, we're wearing Jeff Skinner jerseys, man. You represent.
We were both wearing Jeff Skinner jerseys. I think it happened, and even Asplin got in on the action last
I
night.
called that goal. I
You did.
called that goal so hard. I said it was 7-3. They were kind of dominating still. And I was like, man, that Asplin lands out there. I was like, man, this dude just got scratched for no reason. Hit one in for the boys.
Yeah.
5-0.
I mean, that game was absolutely spectacular. I mean, just to be there, the fans were going crazy. It was a great time. Let's step back and look at the whole week since we last talked about them last Tuesday. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't think any one of us predicted they would go 2-2. I think both you guys predicted they would go 3-1.
3-1. Yeah.
I think I said 2-1-1. So I guess
You're the closest.
I guess I get the participation trophy. I guess for being closest. But all in all, I think it was a solid week. I don't think they played anyone fantastic. Obviously, now looking at Detroit, I feel a lot better about where the Sabres are in the Atlantic Division. But yeah, they got absolutely boat raced by Seattle for every reason. Third time ever playing Seattle, and they just every time just get absolutely
1-3.
they get obliterated. So yeah, I know not close to 100 wins at all. It's gonna take a little bit for that one, but
100 games at least.
Well,
it was tough to watch. That's
That'd be
all I
pretty
have
special.
to say.
The Canadians game's annoying because I think they played pretty well for the most part, but I just think in the key moments, Canadians actually played a little bit better than they did, which is kind of bizarre. Like the last 4 minutes, again, I guess we'll talk about coaching in a second, but can't get the goalie pulled. That's a no bueno. But
That's happened a couple times.
good comeback against the Blackhawks. I thought that was a solid game, and then Detroit was just an overall. I mean, they just kicked the teeth in, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, Mike and I both predicted 3-1. Was not expecting a 2-2. Thought at least against the Canadians they could pull something out, but no, unfortunately not. But I think last night, just my opinion, I know we talked about this on the ride home. I think they're a good fringe playoff team this year, if not a playoff team. So, I mean,
We did not go on the Skajacota.
we did not take the
go to the game.
Skajacota, Mike's favorite way to get to the KeyBank Center, but
Hey, when it's
What-
sold out, that's the way to go.
You're not wrong.
not
You're
wrong.
not wrong.
We even said that. We admitted that last night. Mike is not wrong when there's a sold out crowd, but there's not been a sold out crowd at KeyBank in the past decade. So,
Damn.
yeah.
RJ night.
Oh, yeah, you got a point there. You got a point
Ryan
there.
Miller night this year.
That will be
Technically
RJ.
next year, but who's keeping track?
Let's keep
This
track.
season.
Mike, what do you think about the Sabres last week, though?
No, I mean, I think they coming off a road trip. They're a young team. Obviously, they're probably tired and it was just sloppy. And then Montreal, third period was just not very good. Like they were just trying to get out of the zone to get the goalie, and it just didn't work. And then they had to come back against Chicago. Tage is deciding to just start going off now, which is
Yeah.
very good. I'll take it. And then they just showed Detroit that, hey, we're actually ahead of you in the rebuild.
Yeah. All that money you spent and all that draft capital you spent to get assets for the short term are still better than you,
Mm-hmm.
which is hysterical. But all in all, I can't remember I honestly can't remember who I had for goals or points for the week, but I think Tage might have been at least one of my picks. I think all of us kind of had Tage. at
I
some
had
point,
Skinner
so
as one of my picks. I said he was going to
I
score.
don't remember.
I
mine.
don't remember, but I think we had Tage and Darlene maybe, and both those guys have 12 points through 9 games. So
Yeah.
It's
Darlene continues to make history. So,
it's kind of remarkable that it's like 7 and like 2/3 through the season, 2/3 through that 8th game, Tage had 3 points, and now he has 12 and 9.
yeah.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, the last 4 periods plus that OT against the Blackhawks has 9 points. Like, that's kind of.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
I gotta say, I think that might be the greatest performance. Like the 3 goals, 3 assists, 9 shots and a goal. I think that might be the greatest performance I've ever seen live.
Yeah, in person. Yeah,
Yeah,
me too.
In the
Yeah.
hockey game, I should say. I don't know. Like, but
The
was insane.
Sabres had as many points as the Browns did in the entire first half of the Monday Night Football last night.
no, I think it was 11-0. They kicked the field goal at the end.
For the last 3 seconds of the first half. I mean,
It was actually, if you want to make it a more impressive stat, Joe, it was the combined score of the Monday Night Football game because the Bengals
combined
had
score of the
nothing.
Monday Night Football game. Yeah, you're right. Combined score. Sabres had the combined score of the Monday Night Football game until 4 seconds before halftime. But
Also,
Cool.
I mean,
It was overall a good win. I mean, 12 points through 9 games is a solid pace. They just gotta keep it rolling. And
do you think they will? Like, I mean, let's take a look into their next week here. I mean, what are your thoughts going into it with their opponents?
well, obviously they get a little. We have 3 games now because they play Tuesday against Kyrie, so we'll be able to preview that one. But
Right.
so their 3 games are at home against Pittsburgh tomorrow, then they're Friday in Carolina, and they're Saturday in Tampa. So honestly, this is a big week for the Sabres. This is 3 of the better teams in the NHL. 2 of them on the road on back-to-back nights. It's no easy task playing against those 3 teams. So we're gonna learn. I truly believe we're gonna learn a lot about really who truly are the Buffalo Sabres in these next 3 games. I know how
Playoff contenders,
well, like,
baby.
I know how cheesy that's to say to sound 12 games into the year, but I mean, if you look at it, we're 9 games in the year, we're 10% through the year already. So I mean,
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Like we're moving pretty quick. We're already over halfway through the NFL season, roughly. So I mean, it's kind of crazy.
no, it definitely
quick.
is. But I would say if I had to be accurate, I would say they probably go 1-2.
I would say 0-2-1.
Dang.
All right. I'm gonna say 2-1. I'm gonna go on the optimistic side here and back my playoff caliber claim.
Who do you think they lose in overtime to get that 1 point, Mike?
Pittsburgh.
Oh man, You know, I'm gonna say they're gonna beat Pittsburgh and go 2. I think they're gonna win the home game, but they're gonna. I just think I definitely think the Tampa game is I think that's an easy L. I just think that's gonna be really hard on a back-to-back against that team. And then Carolina's that team that the Sabres always play very well for like the first 40 minutes and then just completely choke in the third period.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, the Hurricanes are a decent team, so I'm going to go on the optimistic side. Like I said, 2-1 on the week until the next pod. So, I mean, it's a little bold, but I think they can do it. I like I said, I think they're a fringe playoff team, and I just want to hear from you guys. Is there a bold prediction you have now to carry through the rest of the season? Like, I think the Sabres are winning the Cup this year. I think they're going to have a Cinderella story and go all the way to the Stanley Cup. I think we're going to be a Cincinnati Bengals, except we're going to win. I think we're going to win it all.
All right. Well, okay. You win one bet last night regarding the Sabres, and now you're going to bet them to the Cup final. But
absolutely.
If I would say a bold prediction that could be somewhat realistic is I would say Tage Thompson comes close to replicating his 38 goal, 68 point season. I know that's a little. Listen, it's a little bit like he just started off hot, but I think I don't know what he was at through 9 games last year, but I know he wasn't at 6 goals, 6 assists. So like I feel, 10%. Let's put it this way: 10% through the year, he already has about a sixth of the production goal wise, so about 17% of his goals from last year, and then points, 12 out of 68 is a pretty good. It's about 20-ish%, about 17% again. So I don't know. I feel like if he continues he's shooting the puck a lot this year. I think he has one of the leaders in shots on goals. He's been very aggressive, and if they get their power play figured out, I mean that's going to help him so much more as well. So
yeah. Can I do a realistic one here instead of the Sabres going to the Cup?
That's not realistic enough for you.
I mean, it is realistic, but I want to toss one out there that could happen here, like legitimately, like Mike.
The Dali Norris one of the Sabres do stay competitive. I think could actually be a.
I'll say another one that they'll have multiple All-Stars.
Ooh,
I like that.
That actually is weird though with the All-Star stuff. Like I don't know how like the criteria like they like, but Dalian's definitely one. It's gonna be interesting. If Thompson has the season, I'm saying he could potentially have. Maybe he's the second one.
I think Tage Thompson is going to have a 45 goal season this year.
Okay, just piggyback off me. That's cool.
We're going realistic.
Cool.
I mean, there's no question about it. I gave an exact number. I mean, you said close to replicating. I boldly said 45 goal season.
Okay. You do you, man. You do you.
But
so obviously we talked about Tage getting a nice night. I think Cousins is playing very well. Quinn, I know, just scored his first goal. Only has like 2 points in 6 or 7 games, but I think he's played very good defensively, which is kind of surprising. I think that's kind of the opposite of what we expected.
You know who surprised me last night? Owen Power actually had an assist for the other team last night. Passed it right to him.
He did a nice assist to Cousin. Owen Power probably him and Clog. I don't know how to say it.
Cloud or whatever. Cloud.
I knew I was going to butcher that, but for every reason, that pairing has been very good the first 2 games. Just kind of, they've been together, so that's kind of surprising. But Power a little slow start, but I think he's starting to turn around as he's more experienced. Who is disappointing? Who do you think was disappointing the last week? If you'd had to, so I have one, but I'll keep it till the end.
Jacob Bryson.
Yeah, he was actually pretty. I thought he was pretty bad. I mean, he fell in front of the net, which was the goal for Detroit. He makes Bryson's pretty solid, but his passing is sometimes so trash.
No, you and I were sitting there talking about it last night. It was god awful in some cases, and I definitely think that he's definitely for the last week the outlier of bad, who's stinky,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
What about you, Michael?
Think, Mike?
I don't know. I haven't heard much of Peyton Krebs' name. He's kind of been
a good one.
Invisible.
But I will say this: I'm happy you brought up Peyton Krebs. Peyton Krebs yesterday was on the ice for 15 shot attempts for 0 against. So he had 100% Corsi and 100% expected goals for. That line was killer. And this is where I get to my most disappointed person of the organization, Don Granato, for scratching Asplund. Inexcusable. There's just
Donnie Meatballs.
It was inexcusable for him to do that, because you now see that, first off, I give him credit though for figuring out that Oposo could play on that top line, because that caused a complete ripple effect of Oposo unlocked the top line, Skinner and Thompson. They played well together. You could put that awesome line of Paterka, Cousins, and Tuck together. You have Quinn, who's actually been able to play well with Olofsson and Middlestat, and then Krebs has been able to get sheltered by Asplund, who shouldn't have been scratched in the first place. So now that Asplund's in the lineup, he's helping Krebs. You got Quinn, who's surprisingly, I mean, yeah, you wouldn't think Quinn would be the guy, but he's helping Middlestat and Olofsson. You got Tuck, Cousins, Paterka, which is an awesome line, and then Thompson and Skinner have been unlocked by Oposo. So I'll give Coronado credit for eventually figuring out the lines, but it was I mean, of course, they go 0-2 without Asplund, by the way, too. So so what? They're 6-1 with the young lad in the lineup and 0-2 without him. Inexcusable to not have him in.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that for sure.
So
I mean, he had a good game last night. So
no, he had a goal, first goal of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So another just side note, obviously not playing related, but I mean a little bit in the aspect of, if Samuelson's down, that's probably what I would say your number 2 defenseman, because I think he's better than Power at the current moment. Lyubushkin, I think you could also make a case that Lyubushkin's been the 3rd defenseman, Power's been the 4th, but
yeah.
And then Alicia Hiharu is a mid eater. I mean, those guys. I mean, we'll see if Lyubushkin. He seems like he's kind of banged up a little bit. Kind of always been a little bit day to day for the past couple of weeks. Obviously, Samuelson's probably out next month, and Yoki's out for the next week to week. I mean, was it that much of a price for Adams to trade for an actual defenseman? I know
would have done the Ethan Bear trade.
We're gonna talk about that in 1 second, but Clegg's, he's been all right. I know he's been good the first 2 games, but I don't think he's gonna stay hot. I mean, then Pilot and Fitzgerald, I think you're asking a lot of those 3 guys. You're asking a lot of Bryson. We talked about that, Joe. I mean, he's playing with Darlene, so
right,
and
yeah,
and you're asking a lot of Power to play with an AHL defenseman. So I don't know. I as you said, Mike, I think Carolina traded Bear and another asset like Peterson or whatever for a 5th round pick, and they retained salary. You didn't think the Sabres could maybe just trade a 6th round pick and just got him straight up with the salary? I don't know. I mean, I think that's just what are we kind of waiting for in that one? I know,
yeah.
I know that aspect you have to be careful about not making moves as kind of like a retooling, rebuilding team. But what's the worst that happens? He just is bad. Then okay, that's a 6th round pick gone. I mean, it's unfortunate, but at least it somewhat helps your short term problem. And what's the best case scenario is that he comes in and he plays well. And all of a sudden, now you have another NHL caliber defenseman. You can move one out for, whatever. I mean,
yeah, I definitely see what you're saying.
But it comes down to the fact of it's interesting with Bear. Obviously, he was an Oiler and now a Hurricane. Now he's a Canuck, but he's already kind of, he's actually produced good underlining metrics and numbers with those 2 teams. But both teams haven't been hesitant about getting rid of him. So I don't know. Maybe it's something, in the locker room. So I think that could potentially be it. But I mean, now we have Jeremy Davies up. I just don't know. I mean, I just feel like they could have added another defenseman, even if he's just kind of more of a bottom pair or 7th defenseman, just another guy to have in the lineup until those guys come back.
No, I would definitely agree with that. But I mean, trust the process, I guess. I mean, that's all I can say. It's what McDermott and the Bills have told us for years. So I'm trusting Donnie Meatballs and Kevin Adams at this point. They've done very well up until this point. I mean, they've turned this team around, and I'm going to just go with it.
Well, I mean, it's just interesting that they, last year, with all the goalie injuries they had, they got Malcolm Subban. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't
I want to say one more thing. I got to give a nice round of applause to Eric Comrie. What a step up. You know what I mean? He's played great in these games. I will say that.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I mean,
he was all right yesterday. I mean,
all right yesterday, but I mean,
put some bad spots.
I mean, when Owen Power passes to their forward right in front of the net, I mean, that's kind of, I don't know if that's on you. That kind of was not what you were expecting. So, I mean,
expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected, but I mean, we're getting some of the better goaltending we've gotten in the past couple of years. So, I mean, credit to him for that. But yeah, I mean, our experience is pretty good last night. I definitely I'm excited. Our next game, all 3 of us are going to, is the Vegas game. We're going to see Jack Eichel back at KeyBank. So
Jack Eichel playing at a high level.
Yeah, Jack Eichel playing at a high level. I hope he doesn't here. I'd like to see him not do well, but I mean,
what are you going to see him out of the score sheet?
Exactly. I'd like to see Tuck steal another puck right from him and then score like he did last year. But we're not gonna dwell on that. On Jack Eichel, of course. I mean, respectable career, and hope he does. Hope for the best. But I mean, good riddance from.
I'm actually rooting against him. So.
Exactly. I'm saying that to be cordial, but actually inside, I do not want him to succeed whatsoever. But I think that's going to do it for our Sabres talk, right, fellas? Anything else to add on?
No, I don't. Oh well, if you want to quickly, hopefully maybe we'll remember who we picked to be the leading goal scorer and points scorer over the course of the next 3 games.
Okay, I think Alex Tuck's going to go off these next 3 games. I think he's going to have 4 goals over them.
Darlene in points, Jack Quinn in goals.
I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go Middlestat in points along with Tuck in goals. With the assists.
Okay. I'm gonna go Jeff and Tage. Jeff for goals, Tage for points.
All right.
Jeff's been a little stink bit, only 2 goals so far. I think he'll get.
He's been a playmaker though. He's been setting
up.
Tage.
I know.
Yeah.
Big guy. Improvement for him.
Big improvement. The playmaker, the 9 mil. Not looking too bad. But all right,
So,
Mike. Mike, are you saying goodbye?
Yes, I gotta go.
Mike's gotta go. You gotta go
work.
do an NU game. He's got to work tonight. So
appreciate joining from the library, big guy.
Yeah, from the library,
those
disturbing
books.
the other students studying. Just
Yeah,
being
I'm probably get beat up as I'm walking out of here. So
probably get kicked. Yeah, but
Probably.
thanks for coming on, buddy. We'll see you on Betting on the Bills later this week. Have a good game.
Yeah, we'll be
See you
back
later.
at the usual location for that. So
Sounds good, buddy.
Have a good one, Mike.
Have a good one,
See ya.
Mike.
Don't go Purple Eagles.
No. Niagara
root for
Purple
them.
Eagles. Look at that.
Can't root
All
for
3
those
from
guys.
different schools, by the way. Buff State, Dom from Canisius, and Mike from NU. All actively root against each other. But before we move into our next topic, the Buffalonian Podcast is brought to you by the Cast Source Podcast Network built with and for entrepreneurs. We cover many genres such as sports, mental health, marketing, and entertainment. We feature the podcast shows such as Sports Bring People Together, The Athletic Mindset, Limitless, Saviors of the Metaverse, and The Athletic Mindset, which I've already said. So if you want to learn more and listen to our show as well, learn more about our show, you can go to castsource.com/podcast or Sports E+. Dom, let's get back into it. We're going to go in with the Would You Rather.
And you got it today.
I've got it today. So I'm going into my notes here to find out. But whatchamacallit? You had it last week, correct? You got a very insightful discussion going.
I mean, I would say.
Or did Mike have it?
No, I did. I think I had something. Oh no, I had something about no, I had it because Darlene was the first star, and I think Allen might have been Player of the Week, or 2 weeks ago was Player of the Week, and we debated whether you wanted to be Player of the Week in the NHL or NHL, I was going to say AHL, and then we debated the Hart Trophy versus the NFL MVP. Kind of, it was a lively debate. What can I say?
It was good. But I have a question for you now. Would you rather have a mediocre defense in need of a veteran, right? Say Von Miller coming to your defense. That's what you need, right?
Okay.
But they're still, before that, doing all right. Or would you rather have an outstanding defense with a veteran looking to come to your team? Like, which situation would you rather be in? I know you'd probably want the outstanding.
You're gonna have to explain that a little bit.
I know. I gotta go more in depth.
Are you saying? Okay. Are you saying that I have a mediocre defense, but I could trade for Von Miller?
Yes, you could trade some of your guys away. Yes, I did not word it the way.
No, but okay. So are you saying? You're saying if I have like the 16th ranked defense, I could trade for Von Miller, or I have like the 5th best defense, I could trade for Jerry Hughes.
Yes.
What did you like? What's the draft compensation? Am I giving up?
Like,
it's not equal draft compensation, is it? No, obviously not. But
no, obviously not. I mean, you're giving up. If you were going for Von Miller, you'd have to give up a lot of your defense.
A lot of my defense or draft picks.
And a couple defensive guys, standouts like prospects. I'm saying prospects. Like if you had Greg Russo on your team, undeveloped.
Why would anyone do that?
I don't know. I'm just saying. Would you rather?
No, I mean obviously it's the latter. I'm not trading away for Von, who's 30. I'm trading for his contract, or I'm just trading for him as a rental? You try to trade him as a rental, like
Yeah.
the Rams. The Rams got him for like a third and a fifth or something like that, didn't they? Or second and third? Is that the kind of deal you're talking about? Like
yeah,
I'm not
something
trading
like that.
Groot. So you're saying I could trade for Von Miller and get for a second and third, or I could trade for Jerry Hughes for like a fifth.
Yeah. You either go for the superstar or the guy that could fit into your defense.
See,
You finally
Well,
got
this-
to what
well,
I was
this-
trying to say. I don't
No,
know why
but-
it was not coming
but
out.
yeah, it's all right. I'm just like what's the hard part for me for that one is like I don't know. I feel like you'd have to go into like what your actual team needs, kind of.
Say
Like
you're
if
the
I,
Bills in 2019, 2018.
how about that? Say that you're the Bills in 2020. You don't have Jerry Hughes on your team.
Okay. All right.
So then you're kind of they were about the 16th ranked defense.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could be the 21 Bills that had a good defense, and you could add Jerry Hughes to that team. Or 20 Bills add Von.
Yeah.
No, I would add Von.
You'd pick the superstar?
I mean, if I had to give up a second and a third for a superstar to elevate my mediocre defense to an elite defense, yes. If I would have had to trade a fifth round pick for Jerry Hughes, who's a solid player, to elevate my defense to what? Just so I have another pass rusher from fifth. No, I think I would preferably take the left one. What about you?
I would see. The thing is, if you're looking at it from more as saving money and kind of fitting someone in that's decent, I'd take Jerry Hughes.
Okay, but what I'm saying is this: is that you're saying that, but it's two different defensive situations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't know the salary cap situation. Can I fit Von? Do I have to give up another player to
Say your salary cap would be close to busting if you picked up Von Miller versus Jerry Hughes.
No, I would still pick up Von Miller. I'm saying would I had to go over? Would I had to like make another trade to trade someone out?
No, it would be like cutting it very close though. Like for the offseason, it would not be good.
But if I
Like,
had,
do you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
no,
if you,
I
if you
understand what you're
signed
saying.
him, you would be in trouble negotiating contracts for the rest of the season.
The rest of the season and next season.
Next season.
If my goal is to win the Super Bowl, yeah. Well, yeah, I would go. I would do the
Von all
thing.
the way.
Yeah, I mean, if I felt like I had a chance to win the Super Bowl and then my defense was going to hold me back and I could get Von Miller for not trading my first round pick, yeah. Also, he's a rental, so why would he? It wouldn't affect my offseason.
Right, but what if you're like the Bills and sign him to a big deal?
Well, that's not a trade. That's a sign.
Well, what if you traded for a big deal like that? Like that you know what I mean?
But
Like,
okay, so are you? Would that be at the trade deadline or would that be in the offseason? Because that would be hard to do in the season. You know what I mean?
that would be like made a big move before the trade deadline. I know what you're talking. I like,
wouldn't do a big move. I wouldn't do that.
You
Okay,
wouldn't,
like,
even if that's what you needed to win the Super Bowl. You wouldn't do a big
Okay,
move
if-
before the trade deadline.
not for a dude that has like a massive term, because then I'm going to pay a lot for that.
Right, but what if he could help your organization for years to come?
That just seems like more of an offseason move. You know what I mean?
Right, but like, what if? Okay, I'm gonna do a whole new scenario for you. I'm gonna clean the slate real fast. Okay.
I mean, it's a good discussion. I'm just a little.
No, so you have Jerry Hughes on the team, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are the 2020 Bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are moving towards Super Bowl. You're on a Cinderella run at that point, right? Jerry Hughes goes down before the trade deadline. Von Miller wants to come to Buffalo, but he's asking big money. Do you take a mediocre signing, right? Do you trade for someone who's mediocre? Like, who would a mediocre edge rusher be? Like, who would you say?
Mario Edison.
Okay. Do you trade for Mario Addison
He's
just to
actually
get through the season?
He's actually an IR this year, which is kind of funny. So.
Yeah. But do you trade for Mario Addison to attempt to keep going on that Super Bowl run with your solid defense? Or do you trade for Von Miller, who wants to come play in Buffalo for years? Like, who wants to stick around after this season and help you win that Super Bowl and hopefully go to more? That's more of what I was trying to say before.
No, No, I think I would still do I think I would just sign Marais, and because if you're telling me Von wants to go to the team so bad, I could just sign him in the offseason like what the Bills did.
Right? Yeah, you wait
Like why would
around for him.
why would I give up like I guess your point would be you would give up assets to make sure one that you and if he so you're saying if I traded assets for him, he'd sign a contract extension. So I guess part of the reason you would be doing it is because one, it would be improving your team, your chance to win the Super Bowl this season, but also you'd be ensuring the fact of that you'd have him signed and he wouldn't go someplace else.
Right.
That's tough. I think I would be more inclined to do it for like this Bills team than last
current
year.
one we have than last year.
Well, because last year, this year we have a dude making $20 million on the defensive line, and like, you know what I mean? Like, but like we're more. And we saw the moves they make. They didn't make moves last year. They made moves this year with Hines and Marlowe. I mean, obviously they're a little bit more of looking at it from a perspective of this is probably the best team that they're ever going to have in this era for now, for the time being. You know, we got to go for it. So
right.
I think I'd be more willing to make the small signature in 21 Bills than this year. I'd probably do the bigger trade, but that's also with Von on my team. So like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I guess coming at it from like a third team perspective, I'm trying to think of like a team like the Vikings. I guess the Vikings have a pretty middle of the pack defense, I would say. Like if they could trade like Von Miller for a second and third and get him signed long term,
right?
I think they would do that. Pair him with Zadarius Smith, Daniel Hunter. I think that could be a pretty explosive team. I mean, obviously, it's I'm talking about their situation though. So
right,
I don't know. I think no, I you know, I'm kind of on the Brandon Bean effect of like I would see what was out there, but I think I would just if I could get a solid vet to fill the spot, I probably would do that and in the offseason look for a longer term
look for that Von Miller
solution,
deal.
which is kind of what the Bills did, other than they didn't make a trade at the deadline.
Right. No, I got you. I mean, I would do the same thing. I mean, honestly though, yeah, I would. I would wait for Von Miller in the offseason. I would try and save the money and still see if we could do it. But like you said, if we're talking this year, we already have him. So I don't know. I mean,
it's just hard. It's just hard to do it from outside perspective. But yeah, I would say like if you feel like you have an opportunity to do it, and you have the draft capital, and maybe wants to sign long term, I would potentially do it. Yeah. And it doesn't cost my first round pick, but if I'm a team that feels like I have a longer window, even though I'm good right now, like what the Bills did the last couple of years, and don't feel like they want to fork up the heavy draft capital and maybe sign them like right away.
Yeah,
I would say do this smaller option, the vet option.
All right. Well, that's been Would You Rather for the day, and I mean, got off to a slow start. I couldn't actually get out what I was trying to say for whatever reason. So
hey, it's like what's it called? A immovable object. Once it starts, object not in motion takes more force to get in motion. But once you start getting in motion, you know it's easy to move. Come on,
physics. You got laws of physics right there, buddy.
Our boy Isaac Newton making an experience on the podcast. But so obviously, you want to go right into trivia?
Yeah, let's go right into trivia.
So obviously, Mike is the big trivia question guy. Of course, he has to go work a game, so he texted me the questions, and he had two of them. And then I needed while we were talking about the would you rather, I was looking up a third one. So like when you started to rephrase the question, I was kind of tuning you out a little bit. So
there we go. Yeah,
it took me. I was trying to get you to explain it again. So I was like, I don't really. I knew the situation though pretty well. So all right. So the Packers obviously lost in Buffalo. What is the Packers' all-time record in Buffalo from Sunday? So obviously they lost on Sunday. That counts to the record.
Aside from Sunday, or like
counting Sunday, what is the Packers' all-time record in Western New York? Just say Orchard Park, not in Buffalo, but whatever.
Can you tell me the total amount of games?
No, because if I tell you the total amount of games, it's gonna give it away.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, shooting in the dark. Damn, that total number. Eesh. I'm trying to think. I don't want to go over the top here, but
what's the record? You don't have to say the total number. Just say what's the record?
32-15.
The Packers' record in Buffalo.
I don't know how many times they played each other. So I asked
Dude,
for
this is
total
the
amount.
This is the NFL. I'm not gonna give you the total amount because it's gonna get away. But this is the NFL. They don't pay.
Are you talking like from the start of the NFL?
Yes, but they haven't played. They haven't played that much in Buffalo.
Okay,
The
hang on,
AFC,
hang on.
NFC. They play every 8. Dude, they play like every 8 years in Buffalo. Last time they played here was 2014.
12-4.
No, they're 0-7.
Packers are 0-7 in Buffalo.
Yes, the one team that they're winless against on the road.
What?
That's why I couldn't tell you the total games. Because if I told you the total games, I thought you knew that they were winless. So I thought
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
That's why I didn't do it because I thought you knew that they were winless. So if I told you like there's 7 games, you would have owned 7.
Yeah, no, I did not know that. That's very interesting, though. I would think Aaron Rodgers could have beat a 2000s Bills team, though.
Well, he's only been here what? No, I think he's only started twice here.
Oh yeah, and the rest was Favre.
22 to 14, I think 6 was Favre. Because I think he was drafted in 05 and he didn't start till 08.
Who did Favre play? Fitzpatrick?
No, probably the drought era. I don't know.
Rob Johnson?
No, they played Rob Johnson in the 90s. They didn't always go 8 years apart though. That scheduling changed because the Houston and Jacksonville like expansion teams came in, so they played more like less freaking. I don't know. I don't know the scheduling stuff of the 80s and 90s and all that jazz.
Yeah, no, I got you. Interesting. No, I didn't know that.
All right, second question. Forgot to mention this when we were talking about the Sabres, but our buddy Jeff Skinner scored his 300th career goal in his NHL career. Fun fact: most goals all time by a player that's never made the playoffs.
Wow, never made the playoffs. That changes this year. He goes.
Not only the playoffs, the Stanley Cup final. Not even that, winning the cup.
Winning the cup. They win the cup this year.
All right, so he was in the 2010 draft. He is one of 2 players now to have 300 career goals. Can you name the second player? You're probably not going to be able to get it, so I'll give you.
No, talking to a guy who's not.
I know it's a poor question for you. I would be able to. I think I could potentially get it, but I know you're in trouble. So I'll give you a couple hints, and we'll see how it goes. 1, he plays for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, no, you're talking to a guy who's more into the NFL than the NFL.
How about this? I'll make it fair. You could look up the Dallas Stars roster right now.
Okay.
And get a guess. And while you do that, I'll give you the third question. So the third question is, when was Salem Field open? Obviously, it wasn't called Salem Field. I believe it was called Pilot Field for the Buffalo Bisons. This is the third question I got on the fly. So when do you think that was opened? AKA pretty much like the first game.
Let me finish typing real fast. I would. Can you tell me, was there a stadium before this one?
Not really. I mean, there's always been kind of like Buffalo based. There's been like sporadic baseball teams, but this was like a big stadium because they thought a major league baseball team was going to come. Because that's why, if you ever go to the Bison, if you go to Center Field, the second row, the second level. The roof could open up and create a third level. They could build a third level because they thought, B team might be coming.
Okay.
Obviously, that's not the case. They have a AAA baseball team, but
no, yeah, not the case. I'm feeling 80s. I'm gonna go 87.
Oh, you're really close. You're like
Am I?
you're like scorching hot.
Can I get another guess?
I'll give you another guess, sure.
88. I'm gonna go up.
Yes.
One.
Yep.
Oh, look at that. All right.
April 14th, 1988.
Would you look at that?
First game, I think in the first game, the pitcher threw like 7 perfect innings or whatever. It was almost a perfect game. The first game, and then Pilot Field now, Salem Field. I think it's called Pilot Field back in the day. I don't know. I didn't look that up.
Yeah, and then it was Coca-Cola.
Now it's Salem. So, do you have the Stars roster pulled up? Well, sorry,
I do.
Any confusion for the listeners? We're going back to the second question where I asked Joe who was the other member of the Jeff Skinner's 2010 NHL draft class that has 300 career goals. So I gave Joe a hint that he plays for the Dallas Stars, and I'm letting him look up the roster because Joe obviously not as well versed as probably Mike or definitely not Mike or myself.
No.
So we're giving a little bit of help. Listeners, we're giving you a little bit of help too. Maybe you guys want to look up the Dallas Stars roster and try and get it as well.
Okay. So
I'll give you two. I'll give you 2 guesses.
Okay. Is it Jason Robertson?
Okay. No, way older. You got to think
older.
Dude, okay, listen. You gotta think it's the 2010 draft class. Jeff Skinner is like 30, 31. Like he's,
Okay,
he's
so
in his early 30s.
I'm going to show you what I'm looking at right now. Okay, I'm going to put it up
all
on
right.
the screen so you can see I'm not actually staring at statistics or anything like that. Okay.
Probably should have done that first, to be honest. Well, you didn't get it. So.
Okay, so this is what I'm looking at right now, just their roster.
All right.
Okay. Is it? And all I see is birthdays. You're seeing what I'm
someone. I know. There's okay. You can probably figure it out by the birthday, but try not to look at that. But he's on. I see him.
Do I share a name with him?
I'm not giving you any more hints.
It's Joe. Hang on. Yeah, it's Joe Pavelski.
Pavelski. How about you click? Can you click on Tyler Seguin?
Is it Tyler Seguin?
You're gonna find out. How many career goals does he have?
307.
And what draft does it say?
Draft 2010, Boston.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that.
Tyler Seguin was the correct answer for all you scoring at home.
All right, Tyler Seguin. All right, cool.
I thought you were gonna be able to figure out from the birthdays because
I went older. I went 84.
But he's dude. Okay, you gotta look at it this way. NHL players get drafted when they're 18. He was born in 92.
I wasn't really doing the math. Oh man. Well, that's gonna do it.
That was a good effort. Good effort.
Well, I appreciate that. That's gonna do it for the Buffalonian podcast this week on this fine Tuesday evening. I'm Joe Callie, and I've been joined by Dom Loss and Mike Marino, who
previously Mike Marino,
previously Mike Marino before he had to go to work. And Dom, how do you always end these, buddy?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.